Welcome to Macleod's Medlive Indian Perspective Expert Opinion. We are at CSICON 2019, New Delhi. I'm Dr. Rahul Kotwal from medical team of Macleod's Pharmaceuticals. Today we have Dr. Arup Dasbiswas sir with us, who is an interventional cardiologist and ex-director and professor and HOD at PGMER and ICVS, Kolkata, and he is presently teaching DNB Cardio in RTIICS, Kolkata. Sir has delivered a session in CSI on how far ancestry versus traditional risk factors predict the risk of future events in CVD. So sir, first and foremost, I welcome you to our channel.
Thank you.
Medlive, and I request you to summarize your session for the benefit of the fraternity.
Yeah. Thank you that you asked me the question and gave me this opportunity. Now basically the title you have already told. Meaning of that thing is the influence of genetic factors in determination of the risk factors and whether risk can be foretold. There are basically certain risk factors already what we utilize in epidemiology nowadays in the genesis of CVD. CVD includes, as you know, cardiac problems, cerebrovascular disease and peripheral vascular disease. In the genesis, there are certain factors besides the heredity. There are environmental factors and intrinsic metabolic factors like diabetes, dyslipidemia, hypertension, smoking, obesity, bad lifestyle, bad eating habits, lack of exercise, these things. Now, it has been seen even after tackling these risk factors, all the risk factors cannot be controlled and still the patient's incidence and prevalence of the coronary disease goes on high. But one thing one has to learn that while I am saying this, lifestyle modification and certain drugs and limiting certain facts to the certain parameters like lowering cholesterol, blood sugar, blood pressure, these are important because with these measures it has been seen that disease can be to some extent controlled and contained, and that has been documented in US and West Europe. But still the incidence remains high, and that is known as the residual risk factors, which are unknown, undetermined. Now, this is another approach because we know in the genesis of this type of disease there is seed and soil. So we are talking of the soil very often, but what about the seed? We know that it runs in families, and particularly in those families where there is history of premature death due to coronary artery disease or other problem, the subsequent generations can also die like that with coronary artery disease. But the main idea and aims and objectives is nowadays to find out the associations between different genetic factors and these risk factors and ultimately pathogenesis of the disease and ultimately evolution of the disease. So if we could predict the disease earlier and if we could predict the disease with more certainty, then we could advance a bit more towards the prevention of the heart disease. For that, genetic factors have to be studied, associations are being found out like this genetic polymorphism, genetic risk scores are being developed. After this genome study, certain genes have been discovered. But presently we are limited because these techniques are not readily available and these are costly. But we are in the phase of developing this, and one day it may happen that with the association of the presently known risk factors, these genetically determined risk factors will come in a long way to early detection and better prevention and better management of this condition, which is very important in India because we are in the coronary epidemic era in India, and the CVD has already taken up over the infective disease. So we have to contain them. And India, you know, it is a poor country, poor socioeconomic status, so it is difficult to treat the developed phase of the disease. So it is better to disease in the nip in the bud phase. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for beautifully summarizing the session, and thank you for being the part of our Medlive TV today. Thank you very much.
Thank you too.